Good, everybody. Um, I guess we'll introduce ourselves first. I'm Ray.
I'm Marco.
This is the Let It Game pod. This is our 20th episode, bro, which is crazy. Like when you really think about it, um, long journey, very appreciative of what we're trying to build, and it's exciting for what the future can lie for this podcast, bro. So yeah, man. We're gonna talk about a whole bunch of different teams, our usual shout outs, teams that we like, teams that we want to see improve. And yeah, bro. Cole, you got anything you want to say?
No, I just appreciate everybody for tuning in. Time's really flying by, man. It feels like we just started this and never 20 episodes in.
Yeah, yeah, bro. Also throw up the hoodie, bro.
Oh yeah, I had to wear my Eagles stuff for
Yes,
Victory
sir.
Monday. I
Yes,
think this is our
sir.
first time recording on a Victory Monday, so yeah, I was definitely wearing my
Yeah,
Eagles stuff
bro.
today.
Hey man, I didn't wear my joint today, but like I was decked out yesterday at Xfinity Live, so it was lit. It was fun.
I can't go
Um,
out to watch the games, bro. I feel like I get like too nervous and I can't be around unless I'm at the game. Then I'm like amped up. But if I'm like, I just get so
bro, I
nervous
haven't
when
been
I'm
to an
like,
Eagles game in a minute. You just reminded me, dog. But no, I feel you. It was weird, bro. But it was fun. It was cool. Like the ratio was like what, one line fan to 100 Eagles
oh
fans.
yeah, Xfinity Live is probably crazy, bro. I
Yeah, it
would
was
not dare
crazy. It
go
was
there if I was a
crazy,
Lions fan.
bro. It was crazy.
At that point, you just gotta be trolling because it's not even like you're getting any enjoyment out of it.
For
Your
real.
enjoyment comes from like being an antagonist at that
Nah, for
point.
real. But hey, shout out to Detroit. We are not talking about the Lions, but but how about them Pistons though? Shout out to them, man. Shout out to them.
Yeah, they've been playing really great, man.
Yeah, they've been balling, bro. They're on a 9 game win streak, 11-2 on the season, and they're currently the best team in the East. I didn't expect it. I want to say this on the pod first and foremost. I thought Duncan Robinson wasn't going to be as good as he was, and currently he's outperforming my expectations. So, I'm really surprised at where they are right now, especially given, all the injuries that are going on. Yeah. Um, yeah, bro. What do you think about the Pistons so far? Because I feel like Cade right now, it's probably like him, Maxey, and Brunson as like the best guards in the East right now.
Yeah, but Halliburton now is definitely between those three in
Yeah,
my
I forgot
eyes.
Halliburton too.
Nah,
Yeah.
he's been crazy. I think somebody that if you don't talk about him later, I'll be sure to talk about him later. But Jalen Duren has really made a jump, and he's went from a guy that
Yes.
kind of is like just like a lob threat and like you don't know what you're getting from him defensively, but he's like a pretty solid rebounder to a guy that like genuinely can make the All-Star game this year in the East
Yeah.
as like a front court guy. I low key forget what the All-Star format is. I remember they came out with it the other day.
I think it's,
I
it's
know it's
World versus
U.S. and
USA.
World. I've always been rooting for him because he's from Philly, and I don't know, like at the beginning of his career, like Bill Simmons was like calling him like guy who like his season looks better on like like a Twitter clip than it actually did. I'm like, bro, he was like his rookie year or sophomore year. I'm like, bro, this is a crazy thing to say, bro. It's like he's not even a guy that is like super flashy either. So how is this going to look better on a Twitter clip? But I'm glad to see him like really bringing it around. I texted y'all before we played him the other day. I was like, he's really going to look like Shaq tonight because we only had Bona and
He did.
Drummond active as centers because B was out and Brome was down in the G
Yeah.
League, and that's exactly what he looked like. I was actually pretty impressed with like him in the isolation. He's got that like low rip through move that like you see like Embiid has, and like usually you'll
Mhm.
see guards have it, but he would get Drummond in isolation and come like low pickup through Drummond's arm when Drummond was reaching out, and he would draw a lot of fouls at that, and he's got pretty nice touch on that right side. So I thought that was a nice move. He probably went to it like 3 times against us, but yeah, I've been super impressed with him. I'm glad he's playing as well as he is right now because he's from Philly, and I'll root for anybody from Philly.
Yeah. To add to your point, like, and like even to like just to add on to the Pistons, like Cade is having a crazy year. He's averaging over 25. Currently is 27.5 right now. 5.4 rebounds, 9.9 assists, which is basically 10 assists. And he's doing it with 43.6 field goal percentage. Which you could probably like given that last game against the Wizards, you could probably say like that's probably the reason why he's on the lower side of the 40s because he shot 41 times. Um, but like, yeah, like I think just how it's going on. I literally just watched the interview with him where he said like he learned a lot from his loss against the Knicks last playoffs. So, you could really see how he's been getting better as a leader, and as a scorer especially. And also I think just in general, because like we can also kind of talk about the Sixers and stuff. Their bench team is very legit, unfortunately. And we
Oh
saw it
yeah, they were
firsthand.
down like one start against us and beat us.
Bro, we didn't talk, but like I was already knowing, bro, that was probably like the worst loss of the
Oh, for
season.
sure, yeah, bro.
Yeah,
Like
like it
I
was
saw
bad. It was a
Cade
bad
and
loss.
Duran and Asar Thompson around. I'm like, bro, we have to win. Like I didn't say we are going to win this game because I know how my team gets, but I was like, we should like we need to not like it's November, so I'm trying not to overreact. We don't
Yeah,
need to win the game, but if you want to be a playoff team, you need to win that type of game. So I
exactly.
was mad.
Exactly.
Like Duncan Robinson played like Steph Curry and Karis
Mm-hmm.
LeVert. I'm trying
Mm-hmm.
not to curse on him.
Karis
Karis
LeVert
LeVert
went bonkers.
had
He always goes
had
bonkers on
the
us,
the
dog.
magnets on, and Karis LeVert is a fun player to watch, but when Karis LeVert has the magnets on, he's kind of impossible to stop because he's
Yeah.
the nice pull up shoot off the dribble shooter when he has the magnets on, and he did. And there was a possession we played like I knew the game was over, and we played 24 seconds of great defense, and he has like a step back three over Trendon Watford that was like a prayer from like 29 feet away. That's
Mm-hmm.
when I knew the game was over. And I was like, you know what, man? Like I got a lot of respect for him as a player because I think he's an underrated playmaker too. But I'm like, bro, like it would just make me mad, bro. I ain't gonna lie, that one made me mad
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
all their starters were out except one, I think.
Yeah.
Shout
I
out to
think.
Jenkins, bro. I didn't know who he was before that game, but he
Oh,
talked
you
a
talking
lot
about
of
number
smack in the
20?
maxi.
Number
Yeah, I believe
20?
he's number
Yeah.
20. His last name is Jenkins.
Yeah.
He had a nice run of games before that, but I wasn't really tuned in to be 100% honest with you. When the Pistons are out, I kind of don't really watch Cade. I really like
Yeah.
Cade, but um they're not as appealing as a watch. I'd rather watch another game when Cade's not in. So I didn't really know who Jenkins was. And he talked trash to Maxi and he played a really nice game. And Maxi ended up having one of his worst games of the year, I would say. His stat line does look very nice if you just look at it, but he shot 14 for 31, which is pretty poor.
Yeah.
And he turned the ball over more times than he had assists. And I think he got a little tunnel vision. And he's a great player, so I'm not like putting too much stock into it. But I don't know. I wouldn't be surprised if some of that was just Jenkins talking and Maxey going out there trying to prove a point and taking more shots than he probably should have. So shout out to Jenkins too.
Yeah. I think like in losses like those, I like, I'm trying to have a more positive outlook on the Sixers season just because this is a new era, you know what I mean? And I feel like this is like the first year where it's like objectively Tyrese Maxey's team. Like I feel like we kind of felt last year that he was kind of taking the reins. And even like low key in 2024 too. Like I like for me that moment was when he scored that game winner against New York, or not the game winner, the OT
The one
shot.
to put in OT. Okay.
Yeah. So like that's when I kind of saw something, but I feel like now this is objectively Reese's like first year really trying to prove a point that he is one of the best players in the league. So I know that with that it's gonna be a lot of ups and downs, you know? And I
Hmm.
feel like yes, this is one of the worst losses of the season. I can't even lie to you. But I do think this is something that he will think back on because, like you said, a part of it might be because they were talking trash, and from my opinion, I feel like they were kind of talking too much trash. I wish we showed more fight because
I
like
do too. We got
Maxie's our
outworked
leader,
that game too on top
Yeah,
of that. So I was hoping that would turn us up, and then we just got flat out
yeah.
outworked.
So it's like
Anyways,
I like that they've been playing scrappy. I like that it feels like we're trying to live up to like what Philly is in the sense of like, we're gonna work hard, we're gonna try to play. But in terms of that, I think we need to show our toughness as well because in those moments, Maxi can't be like they can't be shoving Maxi around multiple times and nothing is happening. You know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah, no, I feel you. I think part of it is that he's also overtaxed because he really looked through the lineup and with the
yeah.
roster we had that night, he was really the only guy I trusted dribble a basketball, as crazy as that sounds.
No, no, I
Um,
feel you. I feel you.
because Embiid has usually been that guy for us. Like no matter who you put him on the court with Embiid, you usually have a really nice lineup. Because even though Embiid is not like a primary creator in the sense that he's like a lead guard, we run the offense through Embiid. Whether that be out of high post when he's like at the mid post and the block, sometimes at the top of the key, ISO him. But he just draws so much attention. He's a decent enough. he's turned into a pretty decent passer, I would say.
Yeah, yeah.
Um,
He's definitely
and
improved in that aspect.
Tyrese Maxey is like very good off ball player, so he's had a lot of success with that.
Mm.
And now the second best ball handler I believe we have out there, the second best person I think to run the offense we had is Kelly Oubre who got hurt. Is it
Oh yeah, he did get
VJ?
hurt. I
I'm not
forgot
sure
about
if
that.
VJ comes handle. Quentin Grimes turns the ball over too much when he dribbles and he gets a little tunnel visiony too. I
I would
prefer him
say
much off ball.
like low key, even though I haven't seen a lot from him right now, like Trendon Watford.
Yeah, yeah,
Like, low
that's you
key.
know what, that's a good take. Yeah, I agree with that. I agree with that. Yeah, so that's what I mean. Like, and Trendon Watford is not a guy you're looking to like go to score a lot for himself, because his jump shot isn't very good.
Yeah.
And yeah, so they have games like his 20-point triple double where he's able to get to the rim a lot because he's got a lot of scores around him who draw a lot of attention, so he could bully a one-on-one matchup. But without a jump shot, it's kind of hard to be a primary creator, especially him who like yes, he moves very smoothly, but he doesn't have a lot of burst or verticality um, that like could allow him to just truly expose a matchup. So I think Maxi's pretty overtaxed. I think it will get better when Embiid is on the court.
Man.
Um, like hopefully half the games at this point. I think he's on pace to play half the games, which I would consider that a win. I know a lot of people like had various expectations, but if you told me before the season you're gonna get 41 games of Joel Embiid, I'd be pretty happy with that at this point.
Yeah.
Obviously, you wish for it to be more, but realistically, you know.
Yeah. I
And
know exactly what you mean, bro.
if we make the playoffs, I know he's gonna play every game because he's proven to do that. So I
Yeah.
don't have any questions there. But we get
Yeah.
Paul George back tonight. Hopefully that takes some burden off Maxey and Jerry McCain running into shape. He has the big leg brace off. And he's a player I truly believe in a lot. So I hope those players are able to help take the burden off Maxey. Because Maxey really like isolation is not his strong suit. He'll have some nice buckets there, but he actually is a pretty, I wouldn't say poor isolation scorer, but we rely on him a lot for it for somebody that I would say is one of his weaknesses is his isolation scoring.
Hmm. Hmm.
I believe he's much better as a pick and roll ball handler and just like
I think like again, like objectively speaking, like I'm not thinking the Sixers are gonna go out here like I mean I want us to compete for a championship, but I'm not here confirming like, oh, we're gonna win it this year, right?
Mhm.
But I also think it with Maxi being our like almost sole ball handler in a sense, other than Watford, or at least, one of the guys that we can
Yeah, these
trust.
games like this.
Um, I wanted to kind of talk about Steph Curry recently. I know against the Pelicans he didn't have his best performance, but I think this is the first time I'm saying like he's 37, chill. But like you know what I'm saying, he just dropped back-to-back 40 balls against the Spurs. You know, that's hard to do against Wemby. You know what I'm saying? That's really hard to do, and one of them was basically a 50-pointer. Spurs are another team that are, playing very well. It's going to be interesting to see them without Wembanyama because I do think, um, as dominant as he is, I do think like it's gonna be similar. Like like I'm not saying that Wemby's gonna be injury prone, but I do think like as someone who is 7'7", you know what I'm saying. I think longevity is a thing that you want to think about. Um, and maybe this is a something like almost like a blessing in disguise where like you could kind of save Wembanyama for like a postseason run. You know what I'm saying? Not saying that like being injured is great, but giving Wemby that rest could definitely help the Spurs be better. Especially given like, year three Wemby is probably one of the best players in the league right now. So it's just I'm really interested to see what the Spurs are gonna do from this point. The Warriors. Shout out to them. They've been kind of up and down. I was really impressed with Steph Curry's performance, given that he's 37. Um, and it seems like Steph Curry is like one of the few players that have like almost like cracked the code, I guess, in beating Wembanyama. But arguably, it could be because he's just he's a skilled shooter. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I saw a case for Steph Curry. They called him the greatest offensive weapon of all time, and I really like the way he phrased it because he's so lethal off the ball. He's probably the greatest off-ball offensive player of all time. So like describing him as a weapon in the sense that like you could just like deploy him anywhere on the court. I thought like
Hmm.
I really like that terminology. So I've been running with that.
Yeah, right now he's averaging 27.4 points. 3.7 rebounds and 3.7 assists on 45.8 percent from the field. And he's 37, so it's like, wow, this is really crazy. Um, I guess I'll go first because we kind of already talked about them earlier, honestly. I
Good.
was gonna put down the Pistons for real. Um, you know, like we said earlier, they're on a 9 game winning streak. They're winning big games when key players are injured. Cade Cunningham's not playing right now, or well, he might be. I haven't looked at the injury report lately, but as of now, he's out. Tobias Harris, he's been out for a minute. Jaden Ivey's been out for a minute. Um, you know, I think Isaiah Stewart was out until they played the Sixers. So it's been like a very like in and out type of lineup for Detroit, and they're still pulling out like all these crazy wins. And they're 11-2. Cade is playing like he's the best point guard in the East. Um, and yeah, like I was just really impressed. And I guess like
Um,
a question, my fault, my
mhm.
fault.
No, you good.
Um, a question that I had, I guess, from me choosing Detroit is like due to their early success, can they sustain this top spot for most of the season?
I
And I
think it'd
mean,
be
I
tough.
mhm.
I think it'd be tough. I don't know. I think the Knicks and the Cavs might just have like more top end depth, I guess if that makes sense. Like
Yeah,
and I'm a believer in Jalen Duren. I'm a believer in Asar Thompson. I'm a believer in Ron Holland. I think Ron Holland is a pretty good player too. But
yeah,
I just think that they have like more star talent at the top compared to the Pistons, like the Cavs and the Knicks.
yeah.
So
I
I
can
think
see
it'll be
that. Yeah,
hard for the Pistons to maintain that. But what I had them as like the fourth or the fifth seed coming. I think the fifth
yeah.
seed.
I think you had him as a fourth, bro. If I'm not
I
mistaken.
had them as four, I forget. Did I have
Because I
them?
remember I was like, oh, you got them higher than
Yeah, because I had the
you
Magic
had
as
them
winning
higher
the
than what they
division, winning
were for sure.
good. Yeah, I don't know, but no, I believe that they'll host a playoff series, which is like that's really good for them. Like if they come out and they host a playoff series, they could easily win that playoff series, and
Yeah, I agree. Yeah.
that's
They might
I
be a
believe
sleeper
they
team that could do some
yeah
damage, like low key. Yeah.
yeah the East is pretty weak if some stuff goes their way and like Jalen Duren keeps up playing at an all-star level. Maybe they got two stars at the top. Maybe Star Thompson is like a
Yeah.
defensive guy. Maybe they can make a conference finals run or more.
Yeah.
They
Who's your
got
team, my
a
boy?
lot of talent on that team. I'm gonna go with the Rockets. They're off to a 9-3 start this season.
That's a very yeah,
Uh,
yeah, yeah, yeah.
they've got 4 wins in a row. The real reason I'm picking this team though, bro, is because I wanted to talk about Reed Shepherd.
Okay, okay.
Everybody else on the team is playing pretty much how you expect them to. Like Sengun is being Sengun. KD is playing exactly how you
Yeah.
expect KD to play. Jabari Smith Jr., same thing. Amen Thompson, same thing. But Reed Shepherd has really taken a step forward after a pretty tough start against OKC.
Mm,
He had everybody like ragging on him. Um, kind of like I don't know, kind of deservedly in the sense that like he played a bad game and was kind of being selfish toward him, which he shouldn't have been. But also like kind of maybe a little too harsh because that's one of the best defenses of all time, especially on the perimeter.
yeah, yeah,
Um, but no, so far this season he's averaging 12.6 points per game, 2.3 rebounds, 3.1 assists, on 1.3 turnovers, and he's shooting 48% from three. That'll go down, I'm sure, but on 5.8 attempts per game, which is really high volume, and he's up to a 64% true shooting percentage. All this in 23 minutes per minute. That's really good. That's
yeah.
super efficient
It's
from
his
a
sophomore
guard.
season, right?
Yeah, that's
Yeah, yeah,
like if he is able to do this for the whole season, I'm sure that 48% is an unsustainably high 3-point percentage because like even a guy like Steph Curry, who's the greatest shooter of all time, isn't able to sustain a number that high.
yeah,
And yes, his attempts are about half per game of what Steph Curry takes, but I still think that number's too high. But I think he's a elite enough shooter to the point where I could see him being in like the low to mid 40s. I just think the high 40s is just too high.
yeah. I get
Um,
that. I get that.
yeah, he's been really good. And 1.6 steals per game. That's exactly why I went third overall. It's because he was a nuclear shooter who had enough defensive playmaking ability to offset the fact that he is a smaller guard, and there might be some like tough contesting stuff as far as his defense. So he's been exactly what he was projected to be as a prospect. And if I was a Rockets fan, I'd be very excited because this is who he was expected to be, and he's playing really great basketball. And the
Mm,
point guard position was a position where he was going to be the X factor because after Fred VanVleet got hurt, and I think
Yeah.
he's played really well so far. And if he continues to improve, I think that this team is very dangerous in the West and could be a contender. And I just wanted to give him his flowers because he's played some really nice games consecutively right here. He scored he's like getting 16 points like every night. Nah, in his last like his last 5 games, he scored 16 3 times, he scored 13 once, and he scored 21 the other game. So yeah, he's super consistently in that range. It's not like he's fluctuating all over the place.
Yeah.
Um, but on a team that is thriving right now because they're leading the NBA in points per game and they're leading the NBA in 3-point percentage, I think he's playing a big part of it. Sorry, second in the NBA in points per game right now, but first in the NBA in 3-point percentage. I think he's a big part of that, and it's something you really need around other guys who have the ball a lot who aren't as great of shooters. So I think he's super important to that team.
What about a team that you want to improve, or a team that you want to see improve? Excuse me.
Yeah, did we talk about the Kings yet, bro? And any of
No,
the
we
past ones?
haven't. We haven't.
Okay,
Well,
yeah, I
I
want
give a shout out to Russ. I give a shout out to Russ.
okay,
That's
okay.
why.
I just want to make sure you didn't say the Kings were one of the past ones.
Yeah,
I
no,
want to
no.
talk about yeah, I want to talk about the Kings because the Kings have been bad. I don't think anybody really expected them to be good. Um,
Mhm.
they're just at this point they're just a bunch of like names on a paper. They don't really fit. They all like kind of really need the ball. Um, but I kind of want to try and be more positive. There's a player on this team I really like. His name is Keon Ellis, and I think that he should be traded to a team that will compete because I think that the Kings cannot fully optimize him on a team where they're not really competing to win at all.
Yeah,
I think he's better utilized on a team that is trying to win games.
yeah,
That sounded really clunky, but I think that he needs to be in a winning environment. And if I was the Kings, I would sell high on him. His contract is done after the year, so there's really no reason for them to have him. They probably should have traded him last year, or the year before that. They also really don't play him that many minutes. I know he is playing more now than he was before, but he's playing 18.8 minutes per game. That has increased recently. Um, but the thing that's really interesting to me about Keon Ellis, bro, is that everybody knows that Keon Ellis is a really impactful defensive player. If he reaches like the minutes threshold, um, he'll likely be in all defensive team talks.
mm,
That's how good of a defensive player he is. A lot of that is his defensive playmaking. But the thing that's really interesting to me about Keon Ellis is how good of a shooter he is, because I don't think he gets enough credit for that. He shoots like 44.4% from three
hmm
on 9.7 3-point attempts per 100 possessions. I'm using per 100 possessions because he plays less than
yeah.
20 minutes per game.
I
So
get
if
that.
I
I
just
get that.
told you
Yeah,
the
yeah,
number, it would be really small.
yeah.
So 9.7 um 3-point attempts per 100 possessions, that will put him in the 74th percentile, and his 44.4 3-point percentage will put him in the 90th percentile. And this isn't like an unsustainably high 3-point percentage for Keon Ellis. Like I'm sure it'll dip down like more toward 40. But seemingly year in and year out, Keon Ellis is a 40% 3-point shooter on pretty high volume. And it's not like, yes, it'll mostly be on catch and shoot attempts, but he is also a very solid shooter off the dribble as well. And I don't know. I think any playoff team would kill for him to be on their team. Um, I know the Sixers like would somehow pull off a trade for him. I would hope they would be extended to next year. So I don't know. I
Mhm.
kind of wanted to try to turn this into a more positive instead of just ragging on the Kings. I hope that Kings fans like really know that they got a great player there, and I hope they sell high on him because I think that he would have been worth a first round pick if they sold last year or 2 years ago. But I don't know. With a couple months left on his contract at the deadline, I don't think he's going to be worth that anymore. So I
Yeah.
just hope they get a couple second round picks or a young, interesting player who might be a restricted free agent that they could re-sign or something like that. Um, yeah, I kind of just wanted to talk about him because I saw the Kings fans chanting we want Keon Ellis. And I don't know, bro. Like it's gotta be something, bro. Because it's like there's no way everybody who watches basketball could watch the Kings and be like, that's a good player. And Kings fans included could be like, that's a good player. And he just only gets 18.8 minutes per game.
Yeah.
Like again this year. Like it's like every year. And it's a new
He's
coaching
like
staff doing this
25
stuff.
too. If I'm
Yeah,
not
he's
mistaken, he's
young, bro.
25.
I'm like, it's a
So
new
he's entering
coaching
his
staff.
prime. Yeah.
Right. Yeah, he's exactly 25 years old. Like and is a new coaching staff. Like, is he causing a problem in practice? Like, what is the deal? Why is he not playing more? Like, it actually boggles my mind, and I just don't know. And the thing is, he
Yeah.
doesn't need the ball, so he could play with all of these players that need the ball. Like Demar needs the ball, Russ needs the ball, Zach LaVine, I think, can play off the ball.
Yeah, he
Domantas
could be.
Sabonis needs the
Yeah,
ball, but it's like he fits on there with all of them, and he plays defense, so it's not like he's a defensive liability. I
yeah,
really just don't get it with that team, and I think that he is a bright spot on that team, and I hope that they send him somewhere where he could compete and they get value back for him because they're in crazy purgatory right now.
man. I mean, hey, man. Shout out
They
Keon
actually have
Ellis,
their
man.
pick, though. I
Shout out.
think they actually have their
Uh,
pick. I think.
yeah, they might, they might, they might. Dang, man. Shout out Keon Ellis, man. Jeez, man. Um, my team that I put as a team that I feel like needs to improve a little bit are the Charlotte Hornets. Obviously, like okay, just to put it in context, right now they are 4-9. They're 12th in the East right now, and they're on a two-game losing streak. I think a lot of it injuries play into uh, a huge reason as to why they haven't been winning games. We've seen Brandon Miller's been out, LaMelo's been out. I feel like they haven't been as consistent as they should be because of injuries. Um, And then I think because of that, the way that I try to think, like again, like you said, I'm trying to think about it in a positive way. They have a lot of solid young rookies to build around. So like one guy, Con Knipple, he's been playing like he's a rookie of the year candidate. Right now he's averaging 17.2 points, 5.9 rebounds, and 2.8 assists. And he's coming off of a 32 point game performance against the Bucks where he shot 12 for 20 and even shot 4 from 9 from 3, which is really good. So they're showing a lot of promise in terms of like, we have some young talent and yeah, man. I mean, Khan obviously is the main guy. But you got Sion, Liam McNeely,
Ryan
Paul
Coleman has been
Greener.
great. So
Yeah, like and there's a lot of different guys that are doing their thing. So, even though there's a lot wrong that's going on, there's also a lot of positive that you can look towards as a Charlotte Hornets fan. Um, but because of that, like I've been trying to think about a question that I can have for a team. It's really like what's the direction of the team and does LaMelo fit that vision because of the position that they're in currently. So, you know, just something that, if there's Hornets fans that watch us, y'all can comment like what y'all think. Um, but yeah, that's why I have them as one of the teams that I think need to improve.
I personally, I wouldn't sell off Lamelo Ball. I understand why
Yeah,
some
me
people say
neither.
they would, but I think with the injuries and stuff, I think that he would not be worth as much on the trade market as he would be worth to the Hornets. Because I think Lamelo Ball is an All NBA talent.
Yeah.
I think
And
that
I feel like he's also gotten better this year too.
yeah, no, bro, but like
Like, you know what I'm
every
saying?
year, I'm like so impressed with him, and then it's like another devastating injury. So I
Yeah.
understand if they like wanted to move off that, and then just like we don't think this guy could like stay healthy enough on our team with like
Yeah.
the man. I don't know. Sometimes team context is important for that.
Yeah.
I would sell him, but I would understand if they were like we just want to get as many draft picks as possible because we think our ceiling is capped with this. I
Mhm.
would get that.
Yeah.
I personally wouldn't do it. I would just see what we got. I would want Khan to play with a player like LaMelo because for as great as I
Dude,
think
I feel
Khan
like
is,
they,
I
they
was
fit perfectly, bro.
yeah, exactly. I was pretty outspoken about how great I thought Khan was throughout the whole draft process and into this season. And I'm very happy with his play. I think that he is the perfect complement to LaMelo Ball, like you said. So I would like personally for his growth, like in the sense that we talk about how James Harden impacted Tyrese Maxey. Not in a way that like
Mm.
Khan will be a LaMelo Ball type of player, to very different play styles. But I think like playing off somebody that really complements you helps you grow a lot as a player.
Yeah,
So
I
I
think
think
I
he's
think his
ideal.
off ball shooting might go crazy with Melo.
Yeah, for sure. And he
Like
could
consistently.
definitely yeah, in LaMelo's gravity would allow Khan to like attack more closeouts and create for
Yeah.
himself because they
Yeah.
like wouldn't really be able to throw doubles at Khan when Khan is like driving and stuff. And not that I really think that would affect Khan. Khan's a pretty good processor of the game. I think he would be able to make the right pass, but
Yeah.
it definitely helps Khan having good players out there. I think
Yeah.
there's importance to that.
Yeah, for sure. Um, it's our last part of the show or episode, excuse me. Um, our infamous let a game player shout out is where we shout out a player that we've been really impressed with. Sometimes they might be I mean, most of the times they're going to be underrated players, but hey, sometimes they're going to be some good players that have been, undeniably great. Um, so my guy that I've chosen for my shout out is AJ Mitchell for the Oklahoma City Thunder. He's having an insane sophomore season, 16.7 points per game, 45% from the field, and averaging almost 4 assists per game. I feel like he's a very great volume shooter. Honestly, could go down as a six man of the year candidate and a most improved player candidate. And like there's already Harden comps being thrown out in terms of how he can score, which that's some great company to be in as a member of the Oklahoma City Thunder. You know what I'm saying? Um, again, like I'm insanely impressed that this is his second year coming off of, signing a two-way deal with the Thunder and he's playing like this. You can see the improvement. And a lot of people have said that, in previous last year that he was like that. He just didn't have the time. And now he's showing that, he deserves to be like a dominant force in the league. And also, I think one point that I really want to highlight about AJ Mitchell is that he only has one game where he scored below 10 points as of November 17th. Shout out my cousin because it's his birthday today. Um, but yeah, yeah. So yeah, that's why I got AJ Mitchell as my player shout out.
Nice. I think that's a good one. Yeah, he's definitely been hooping this year. I shout out. We talked about his team earlier, but we didn't really mention any players on that team.
Okay, okay.
I'll give my shout out to Vít Krejci.
Okay, okay, okay.
He's a guard on the Hawks. Um, so coming into this year, some people were calling him one of the most underrated players in the league that I follow on Twitter.
Mm,
And or what it was like best value contracts in the NBA. I think was the word that they were using to describe him because he like has played well in the past. So this year he's recently gotten a chance to play minutes. In his last 5 games, he has gotten over 20 minutes in all of them, and he is averaging 16.6 points per game, 2.4 rebounds, 2.6, sorry, 2.6 rebounds, 2.4 assists, zero point 0.6 turnovers, so pretty turnover averse. He's shooting 7.4 threes per game at a 54.1% three-point percentage, and all doing all this and still only 26 minutes per game. So 26 minutes per game to get you an efficient 16 and a half points. Um, it's been pretty amazing. So the Hawks have been a hot team. They have won all 5 of those games that he has gotten
they've been on a roll.
have
Also, shout out
very
Jalen
advanced in.
Johnson
Yeah.
too.
And
Jalen
in
Johnson, hoop.
those games, he's gotten over 20 points. The one he had 20 exactly on 6 made threes.
Mm.
And he scored 28 against the Clippers on 8 for 10 from three. It was a plus 18 in that game in his 30 minutes in a game that they won by three. So he's been impacting winning at a really high level this year. And he's been shooting the ball very efficiently, and it's been pretty impressive for a big guard to play like that. And in games they've been missing Trey Young, just seeing him get more of an opportunity next to Jalen Johnson and Onyeka Okongwu, who are both playing pretty well, and
Mhm.
Alex Nickeil Alexander Walker. I think that he's shined a lot, and I just wanted to give him his flowers. And he was a guy I was like oddly watching coming into this year because of how much I was seeing about him on the timeline. Like the one thing it was like, give me a player who is actually underrated, not like gimmicky underrated. And they were like naming like gimmicky underrated players who like everybody kind of know, like everybody knows at this point like who is like tapped in with the NBA, like Trey Murphy. Like everybody knows Trey Murphy in the NBA, and like to the
Yeah,
casual fan, Trey Murphy might be underrated, but like to somebody that watches the NBA on a pretty consistent basis, they know who Trey Murphy is, and they know that he's
yeah.
a solid player. Um, very solid, very. He's one of my favorite players. I'm trying not to like overrate him on the
Nah, I
podcast.
get it, I get it, I get
They,
it,
they,
bro.
they know they know that Trey Murphy's a good player, but it's like a guy that like even like the non-casual NBA fans might not think of
Yeah,
it. Beat
yeah.
Krejci was like the guy that came to a consensus on because like his like WAR per contract or something like that, wins over replacement per contract or whatever was like crazy. I don't have the stat for it because you have to pay for it, but that was the guy they were going with, and I was like, bro, like let me watch this guy a little bit this year. He's been
Okay.
going crazy, so I just had to talk about him. Um, because we talked about his team, and I had like a list of 5 guys going into today's podcast, and Jalen Duren and Reed Shepard were 2 of the guys I had on there. So I was like, I gotta make sure to fit them in earlier so I could talk about Veet. So yeah, definitely gonna keep an eye on him for the rest of the season. It's nice seeing him play games. I know he was in the Hawks rotation last year. But to
He
be
was.
honest,
I forgot like until you mentioned him. I was like, oh dang, like
yeah, to be honest, I wasn't really familiar
yeah.
with his game. Like I knew who he was, but like I'll be lying to you if I was like I was a big V Krejci guy. So yeah, I just wanted to give him a shout out because he's played really nice with Trey Young out right now.
Want to say we appreciate everybody for tapping in, everybody for listening, everybody that leaves us messages and like comments. Like we really enjoy that. Not only because like this is our thing, but like it lets us know that we're doing the right thing with what we're trying to create with Love the Game. So before we leave, Cole, one, you got anything to say, and two, you gotta leave us with the question, bro.
Just I appreciate everybody that's watching the videos or interacting with our content, especially. It definitely helps the algorithms push it because you see once you get a couple comments, those are the ones that be getting the most views. And a couple of our videos on TikTok and Instagram and getting up there. Not like
Yeah, man.
ridiculously
Yeah.
high, but like
Shout out to them, bro. Shout out to
yeah,
everybody. Yeah.
definitely see the improvement now. My question is there a game that you watch like in person or just like on TV or something like that that you find yourself going back to and like watching the highlights of a lot? Because sometimes when I'm bored and the Sixers
Mm.
aren't on or it's the off season or something like that, this could be any sport. But like or like sometimes I just go back and like rewatch games. Like I'll say mine like what you could think of one. One
Mhm.
that comes to mind was I went to a Sixers Timberwolves game 2 years ago with some of my
Okay.
friends because I really wanted to see Ant play, and Embiid ended up having 51 that game, and the Timberwolves were like the top rated defense. I think he started off the game like 1 for 6 and then made 16 of his last 19
Oh yeah,
shots. So I got
I
to see like
barely
him
remember
play
that,
his
John.
whole
I know you're
51.
talking about. Yeah.
Yeah, and Maxie had
Yeah.
like 30 some, and that was like his like real breakout season. That was like my
Yeah.
first time seeing Maxie like go crazy like that. So that's one if I'm like looking for one on YouTube or League Pass or something like that, I go back and watch that one a lot. I also go back and watch this one we played against the Grizzlies coming out of the All-Star break with Harden
Oh
on that
yeah,
team.
that John was
You remember
jumping.
that
Yeah,
one?
yeah, yeah. Was that the
Embiid
one
had a
where
tough
Embiid
game.
blocked Ja?
Yes, he had a tough game, but his
Yeah.
defense was like
Yeah.
super
That
tough
game
that
was
game.
jumping. Yeah.
And Harden had 30. I love Harden. And I was at that game with my dad. It was our first game going to in like 2 years. We hadn't been to a game in like 2 years because I was at college. But I was home like, yo, we gotta go to a game because we used to go to
Yeah.
games all the time when they were really bad. So we
Yeah.
went to a game
That's
and that one
real.
was super tough. I'll never forget that one. So and it was tough. It was like we came back from down 10 or whatever. So those two are two for me that I go back and watch a lot.
So does my answer have to be Sixers or it could be any?
No, it could be any sport, it could be
Okay.
any team.
All right. So I mean, I'm doing basketball. Mine is game four, Steph Curry against the Celtics in 2022. That was like probably my favorite performance I've ever watched, mainly because I couldn't watch it at the time because the
Mhm.
like where I was staying at the time, like it didn't have like the game on, so I was sick, bro. But like I remember watching the game after and I was just mesmerized with um just like how dominant Steph Curry was because like, I think as I'm getting older, I'm starting to understand like it's really hard to be 6'3" and control the game. Like
Yeah.
that's not easy to do at that height. So to see that he essentially was doing that, and arguably like that might be one of his best games of his career for real. So especially given the narrative, like if they went down 3-1, who knows what could have happened? You know what I'm saying? So yeah, I feel like that's something that I really watch a lot, and I'm just like it gives me a source of inspiration in a sense. So yeah, but yeah, we appreciate everybody for like again showing support, showing love. Yeah, we're gonna keep coming, we're gonna keep growing. And answer the special question in the comments if you make it to the end of the video because we want to interact with you guys. And yeah, man, let's get it. Let's go. Appreciate y'all.